I've been wanting to do this interview for a while. Been waiting for this. So, my first question to you is, what is Dad's favorite animal?
Well, I would probably say a dog.
A dog, yeah.
But he's a cat lover too, because remember the one in Campbellsville he trained?
Oh, yeah.
He was so patient training that cat. I mean, and it took him a long time. So, I think he likes dogs and cats.
Just so whenever we get his answer for this question, what is your favorite animal? I think I already know this one, because you have them all over your room.
Well,
the first question is, what is Mom's favorite animal? If you know. Because I know she has a lot. She was rambling on about all the animals that she liked.
She's got 2 dogs and a cat. That's just something right there.
And just so we can make sure that your favorite animal is what she said it was, what's your favorite animal?
A dog.
Dog. Called it.
Like my dogs.
I like a lot of different ones. I mean, I like dogs as far as domestic.
Any animal that you just like.
I like bears. I like zebras.
That's not one answer.
I know, but I
What's
can't
like-
really pinpoint just one.
Yeah. Well, I feel that. What's like the main animal that you have like a lot of? That Dad might guess is your favorite animal because you have so many things of this animal.
Well, I've got leopards in one room and zebras in the other, and bears in the living room. So
Well,
my house is full of
that
animals.
too. And you got one of your favorite animals that I painted you a little ceramic thing of, where it was a mama and a baby.
Oh yeah,
The little elephants.
Yeah.
So he might answer one of those
I don't
many.
know. I'm
We
telling
don't know
you, I'm
yet.
an animal lover. I like a lot of them.
Yeah.
I even liked your fish when you had your fish.
For those who don't know, Poyo was my fish. He passed away, so I don't have him anymore. Alrighty, here's the second question. What is one word to describe Mom? What word would you use to describe her?
Hot.
I ain't gonna tell you what she said about you. You will find out when the video comes out.
I loved her from the time I laid eyes on her.
Ooh, love at first sight, huh?
Pretty much.
Alrighty. What is one word you would use to describe Dad?
Sexy.
Oh, Mom, that's not. I'm gonna...
Well, you said one word.
I know, but I wasn't expecting that word.
Well, he may not be to you, but when I look at him, I like what I see.
I'm so glad this is for family.
Just saying. Always have, always will.
Oh goodness, I was not expecting that. I was thinking you'd say something like childish.
Hardworking.
Yeah.
That definitely describes him.
Alrighty, so we got the one word, folks. Okay. If you could choose one activity to do with Dad, what activity would it be? Like something fun for date night? Or... Because I know you guys like to go do things together.
Well, I like to go over and watch IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
I like to do that. I wanted to go to the place in Louisville where they have the stars and things at the ceiling.
I don't remember what that's called, though.
Planetarium or something like that. In pretty weather, we like to go hiking. I like to go hiking.
That's more than one activity, though.
Well, right now we're snowed in. It's kind of hard to think about an activity
When there's nothing to do.
when you can't do nothing right now.
That's why we're having an interview.
Probably rent a Dodge Challenger and take her for a quick ride.
Rent a car and go
Uh-huh.
zooming, a hot rod and go zooming.
Yeah.
You know what would happen though.
Yeah, she'd scream, "Oh Jesus!" every time I done that.
Yeah. That would be how that goes. Like I can already tell that your interview's gonna be a lot shorter than hers just because you're straight to the point. While Mom likes to talk a little bit more. Okay, alrighty. How did you know? This one's a juicy question. How did you know that Dad was the one after he disappears? The fourth question is, how did you know that Mom was the one? I know you said the moment that you laid eyes on her.
I just knew.
You just knew?
I just knew she was the one. After I talked to her, and we went out on our first date, I thought, she's it. She's the one.
She just had wifey material vibes.
Pretty much. Yeah, she was a good woman. Still is.
Yeah.
I did not want to not be with him all the time. Now that had never happened to me before, because I mean, even with my friends, you know, like I loved going out and doing something with my friends, but you know, when it was time to go home, I was ready to go home. But with Gary, I never wanted to go home. I never wanted him to go home. I mean, I dreaded the time that we would have to be apart. And so I knew that there was something special about him. No doubt about it. Because I'd been engaged before, supposed to get married. And that was one of the red flags that Nanny told me was a red flag, was that I was okay with that guy when going home. And she said that was a red flag. And I didn't really understand it at the time because I'd never had anybody that I wanted to be with all the time. But to this day, after all these years, he's my people. Whenever that I'm going to do anything, I want to do it with him. If I go away to stay with one of the kids or something for a few days, I miss him so bad, and I can't wait to get back to where he's at. Now, either him come to me or me go to him. It doesn't matter where we're at as long as we're together.
When your social battery's dead, he's the only person you want to deal with.
It doesn't matter whether it's something good in life, I want to share it with you. If it's something bad, then I feel better just holding his hand. And when he gives me a hug, it just makes me feel like that it'll be all right.
Everything's gonna be okay. The fifth question is, what was the first year of marriage like?
Different,
Different?
yeah. Because I was used to being on my own.
Oh yeah, because he was the lone wolf type of guy.
Yep. We got used to each other that first year.
Yeah.
It was exciting. It was scary. It was hard sometimes because you're having to get used to living with another person, and there's so much to learn, and you don't think about that when you got the hots for them and you just want to be with them all the time and everything. But then when you're actually living with them and you're together all the time, then there's compromises that have to take place. there's surprises that you find out that you didn't know. Good, and sometimes not so good.
Yeah.
And it's that way with any two human beings, whether it would be a marriage relationship or if it would be any other kind of relationship. It's something that you got give and take, and both of you have to work together. If you've got one or the other that won't compromise and won't work together, that's why marriages don't make it. Because it can't be all one way or the other way. Both of you have to give. And then there's times that you take. But it has to go. And that's when a relationship's going to make it. Whether it's a marriage or a friendship or anything. It's going to be the two people that want to have that relationship being willing to work things out.
Yeah.
And when you have a problem, you've got to be honest. Now, you can be gently honest, but you still got to be honest. Because when you hide your feelings, they will come out. And then that's when you have real trouble. So, even though things might be difficult to deal with, you need to deal with them so that you can work it out and then move on.
This is a good point because the next question is, how do you solve problems together?
Well, there again, honesty.
Honesty.
Because there are times that you are working on some issue and you don't feel like you can change your point of view, and you have to agree to disagree. I mean, there are some things that Dad and I will never agree on, but we are individuals. He has to let me be who I am, and I have to let him be who he is, because as you age, you both change. You know, like when we got married, I was 19, he was 24. You know, okay, 10 years later, you know, I'm 29, you know, and he's 34, and we're different people, you know, and you got to stay in love with the person. That's not the same person that you married. But I wasn't the same person, no more than he was the same person. And we had to stay in love with each other. And he and I both have to try all through the years, even now. You know, we have to adjust to health issues. As you go through life, you have so many things come up. Jobs get lost. You know, you end up with, sometimes you got a certain amount of money and then all of a sudden you don't have that amount of money. And there's just so many stresses that comes in life. You've got to stay in love with who they are through the years. And if you will work at it, and if both of you work at it, as the years go by, you just get deeper and deeper in love. The love that I have now for Dad is even stronger than it was when we first got married. It's grown through the years.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live life without him.
One of my favorite quotes is, you don't fall in love, you walk in love.
I hadn't heard that, but that's good, because
Some people even say you grow in love.
As we are aging and as we are having health issues, you know, you find out that your love is not based on lust. When you're young and healthy, a lot of your relationship is lust. And you still have lust through the years. but it becomes more love than it does lust. And through the years, when both of you start having health issues, it's just like Dad with his shoulder, giving him pain, and there's things he can't do. I don't look at him as less of a man than he was when he was stronger and healthier. Because now it's love, it's more love. See, that's why the love has grown through the years, and I've got all this love that makes up for the things that he's not able to do. It's just like with me, so many things I can't do with him physically. You know, like we used to go, you know, do things that I can't do physically now with all this arthritis and junk.
Like going on long walks.
Sometimes I would worry about would he still want to be with me when I can't do stuff. But we have to find things that we still can do. Like you asked me earlier, what would I want to do? Mm-hmm. It's not what I want to do, it's what can I do.
The sixth question is how do you solve problems together?
We argue them out.
you just hash it out.
We hash it out, yeah. That's
hash it out and you finally come to an agreement.
right. And I try to always win.
We know how that works out.
Yeah.
What is the hardest thing about marriage?
Having to always consider somebody else's feelings, and what they want, not just yourself. When you're single, you do what you want to do. You don't have to consult anybody. You know, you do what you want to, when you want to, how you want to. Mm-hmm. But you don't go into marriage with that mentality.
Oh yeah, you can't.
You always have to consider not just your husband, but also, you know, after you have children, you have to consider the people that is in your families. Everything you go to do, you got somebody else that you have to think about how it's going to affect them and make decisions based on that. It's not just you no more.
Yeah, you gotta work together.
And nobody gets what they want all the time.
Yeah. As you and Dad always say,
take turns.
You can't always get what you want.
Sometimes you have to take turns, you know, because it's never a one-way street.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that people, they really need to consider whether or not that they are ready to be married before they get married. Because if a person likes being single, then that's best for them. Because as time goes by, when you know, if you don't get married when you're young, as time goes by, it is harder to make those changes that you need to make whenever that you are considering. As Uncle Timmy would say, you get old and set in your ways. That's what he told me one time. So a person needs to look at marriage knowing that they are giving up a certain amount of their freedom. And then ask themselves, do they love that other person enough to sacrifice?
Yeah. Because love is sacrifice. Jesus taught us that. Alrighty. The next question is what is the hardest thing about marriage?
Hardest thing about marriage?
toughest thing that you can think of?
Toughest thing. I can't really say that there is anything tough about being married. I mean, as long as you go to work every day and put your nose to the grindstone and don't be lazy and give and take, she gives some and I give some. She takes some, I take some, It's a give and take.
You work together.
Right.
Okay. The next question is, what is your favorite memory with Dad? What's your favorite all-time memory?
The birth of our children. With you, we didn't know if Dad was going to make it, but he got there. He got there. And that's a beautiful shared memory. And then our family vacations.
Family vacations.
Yeah.
Vacations.
Yeah, the births of our children, the family vacations. And then the different homes we owned. Just going through that buying process and picking out a home that we wanted to buy. And I've enjoyed every place that we've lived.
Yeah.
And we've had a wonderful life.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory with Mom?
Favorite memory. I guess when we fell asleep when we was dating.
Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah. We sitting on top of Miller Hill and just kind of looking down the city. We was listening to the radio, and I figured it was probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We just sitting there talking, and next thing I know, I woke up and it was like 2 a.m.
Oh no.
It was 2 a.m. and I was supposed to have her home by 11.
Oh no.
And anyways, I snuck your mother home. And I'm glad I was in the Thunderbird that night because it was a quiet running car. I had a big old Thunderbird and I snuck her home. And then I snuck out and put it off. We never did get caught. Until about probably 5 years later when she spilled beans to her mom.
I
But
mean,
it was funny. That's a good memory though. That's good.
Nanny finds out about everything.
Yeah, but it's always 5 or 10 years down the road. when Nanny found out some of our stupidity.
Oh, that's funny. The next question is, how did serving the Lord affect your marriage?
If we did not serve the Lord, we would not have a marriage.
That's a good one.
The things that, and not just going to church, but having the Holy Ghost is such a vital part of having a happy marriage.
Yeah.
You can have a marriage, but to have a happy marriage has took the Lord helping each of us with our attitudes, with our temper levels, with storms of life that come, having the rock in our life to lean on when we didn't know how to handle things. We didn't know what was going to happen next. Because unexpected things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't prepare for everything. And when those unexpected things come, then having God there, being able to talk to Him about things, feeling His presence, and knowing that, He was ultimately in control and that we were following Him and that He would lead us if we'd let Him. because every marriage, I feel like, has rough and rocky times. And I know if it hadn't been for God, we wouldn't have made it. Serving God kept us together. And my mom always told me, you get one. You get one, you keep that one. That's it. So make sure you get the one you're supposed to have. And work hard to make that marriage work. And I watched my parents go through things, and I learned a lot. One of the main things in a marriage is forgiveness. And sometimes it's harder to forgive than at other times. But whether they deserve it or not, you gotta forgive if you're gonna stay together.
How did serving the Lord affect your marriage? Because I know that you guys didn't start out your relationship really serving the Lord.
No, we didn't. Both of us was just a couple of hellions. And I remember Sister Browning, Mary Browning. She married Brother Alan Browning, the pastor, church in Middletown, Kentucky. And her and her mom came to our house, knocked on the door, and invited us to church. And we went to church with them right there in my hometown of Mount Washington, Kentucky. That's where she got back in church, and that's where I got in church. Went to Brother Boyer's church. Brother and Sister Boyer. They're good folks.
And the last and final question, which you've been doing a lot of already, but what is the one piece, just one this time, one piece of advice that you would give new couples or people who are just now like getting into a relationship to consider marriage? Like they just started dating, but their end goal is marriage someday. What advice would you give to those people?
Work out your relationship with God first. Then work out your relationship with your spouse. And never put your children ahead of your spouse. Because a lot of times, once people have children, their main focus shifts from their spouse to their children. Now, you got to have your children come right after your spouse, but you can lose your spouse by focusing too much on your children. So if you want to keep a happy marriage and you want to stay together, you have to take care of that relationship that you had to begin with, because when your children are grown and gone, it's back to just you and them. If you have not taken care of that relationship and the children are gone, there's nothing for you to have as a couple again.
So you gotta keep the fire alive.
You have to take care of that relationship. You've got to go on dates. You've got to make the other half of you a priority. Because you truly do become two halves of a whole. And that's what keeps you going. It's never just you ever again once you say I do.
Number 10, the last and final question I have for you
Hallelujah.
is to any new couples or people that are dating with marriage being the end goal in mind, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them? Like the best advice that you could give a couple?
Don't wait too long to get married.
Like wait too long.
Don't wait too long. I know of a couple that dated 10 years, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
just way too long. And when they finally got married, I think he passed away about 2 years after that.
Yeah.
And they could have had 12 years together instead of just 2 years together. And now he's left behind a widow and a baby. That's saying don't wait too long. You know, if you got a, I don't know how to put this, but just don't wait too long.
Don't wait.
You'll know if she's the one, and she'll know if he's the one. If you put God first.
Yeah, that's kind of what Mom was saying. Is put God first.
Put God first, and it'll all work together like it's supposed to. God will let you know if they're the right one for you.
Well, thank you for doing this little interview with me, because I have had a lot of fun, been learning a lot of stuff, and I can't wait to show you the finished product whenever I get it done, because I think you're really gonna like it.
That sounds good.
Alrighty, now we can get Dad in here, because he's been waiting his turn.
That's a lot to say.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this little interview with me, and I'll let you guys see it. You can see what Mom said, and Mom can see what you said after I get it done, edited and stuff. On
Yeah,
y'all's
she's
videos.
educated. All I can say is the dumbest thing I guess your mom ever done was marry a dumb old hillbilly like me.
But hey, you all knew each other was the one,
Yeah,
and you
that's for sure.
and you guys have had 40 years together.
Yeah, it'll be 40 years, January 28th. That's this month, 2025.
Yeah, that's a long time, and
Yeah.
that's being successful in my eyes.
Yeah, to most folks that's a long time, but as that old song is out there, don't blink, because time just
To us,
slips right on
To
by
us,
so
it might look like a long time, but to you guys, it's like you blinked and it's been 40 years.
I mean, she still is beautiful now as she was then, maybe more so. Well, I hope the interview's over.
Yep, it is over. Thank you for doing the little interview with me.